kind of go through it. So let me open this back up.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'll
All right.
close out the.
It's really cold outside.
Huh?
So it's really cold outside.
It's cold in here.
All right, you're good to go. All right.
Okay, which one's homework?
Yeah, it's the
The
only.
PDF.
All right, guys, heads up. Let's go.
No. Okay. So, questions on the homework?
Josh, you got a question?
Can't really understand any of it.
Man, pick one.
Number
Number one. How do you do the cut?
Oh, hit the there's little camera icons at the bottom. You hit this.
Okay, so what do we have to do first? Draw a picture, right? So, put your little triangle. Little a is over here, little c, little b. All right, so 12, let's see, 70, and then 15.
No, I thought the angle was in the. Yeah, it's the angle. Yeah.
Angle, oh, thank you. 15.
So like when we cross over, there's nothing like outside and then across the 70. Or at the side.
So what, for people who did it, what did you guys use to solve for the missing pieces?
Sine of 15 over, no, wait, it's not. Am I right?
Well, figure, you have two angles, how can you solve for this
Oh,
one?
right. 180 minus 70 minus 15.
And what is that?
95.
Okay, and we use law of sines when we're given an angle on the side opposite. Well, now we're in a position to do that. So which side do you guys want to solve for?
The A.
A? Okay. So, sine of what, 95?
Yeah.
Over 12 equals?
70.
Okay. Over little b, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Press the X.
okay, so we have to cross multiply, right?
Yes.
So what would b equal? Sine of 95. And then we just plug that in our calculator, right? Yep. Oh, no. Oh. Nope.
Turn out.
So we're doing, what, 12 times sine of 70. And then we're dividing that by what? Sine of 95? $13.59. So little b is roughly 13. 59. Okay, you guys want to solve for C2? Are you guys good? How the general setup is? Want to do it anyway? Okay. So we're going to use the same degree, 95 for A, and sine A. And this time we're going to do sine of,
70.
we're on sine this side, right? Sine of 15
Oh, my bad.
over little c. Okay? multiplying. That's a 5. Okay, just plug it in your calculator, round, and you're good.
You know what? I think my calculator's still rated though.
Oh, is
Yeah,
this?
I was gonna say, I didn't
Yeah.
understand.
Sorry about that.
I didn't think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
If you guys got, 11.34 for one of those, you're fine. Okay. We were, last hour in Algebra 2, we were messing around with, what's called radians and some of the values. It's a completely different way of measuring the angle stuff out. It's in terms of pi. So if you followed the keystrokes of what he was doing, you got 14 or whatever you guys were on, 11 and stuff. You're fine. You did just fine. Don't worry. You're going to be okay. Now the issue is fixed, and that was my fault for not catching that.
I didn't even think about it. Sorry.
He was nice handwriting.
Thank you. Yeah, 11.32.
I just said why.
Cool. Okay, new stuff. It's not that much more difficult than this, but the formula,
Are we trying this one? Is this new?
that was going over homework. Any other questions on the homework? You want to go over it? Okay. I got rid of the pictures. What information was it? What number? 2? Yeah. Okay, so A is 12, B is 5, measure of angle A, 110. Okay, first, what? Picture? A, B, and C. Okay, so 12 goes here, right? Little b is across from this one, so that's 5. And we'll give an angle A, right? Okay, we're given an angle on the opposite side, so we're going to use law of sines. Okay, what do you guys want to solve for first?
Measuring
B? Right, because we're even side B, we just need to find angle B. Okay, so sine of 110 over 12 equals sine of B over 5. Okay? And we just want to get this by itself, right? So if we multiply both sides by 5, we get sine of 110 over 12 equals sine of B, right? Okay, then you just go to your calculator.
We do the inverse for this problem, right?
Yeah, it's going.
Oh, there we go. So 5 sine of what, 110? Are you dividing that by 12? Okay. Nope. Okay, try that again. We get some nasty decimal, and then we take what, the inverse sign? Sine. Second answer. 23.05. Okay, so I'm just going to plug it in. Okay, now if we look at our triangle, we have 2 angles. How can we just solve for the third really quick? Subtract it from 180, right? So what are we going to get? A number, okay. What number though? 46.95?
Yep.
Okay. And then what are we missing now?
The C. Yeah.
Little c. Okay, so 12. Just use that information, and then we want to do angle C was what? 46.95? 5. Divide that by little c, because that's what we want to solve for. Right?
Yes.
Okay? Do cross multiplication. So C is what? 12 sine of 46.95 all over sine of 110. And because this one is slow, what did that give us?
Okay.
Oh, wait, actually, oh, yes.
What is it? 9.33. 9.33? And that's it. Biggest thing, draw your triangle, see what you have, then go from there. Yeah. Oh, when we solved for angle C, we had two angles, and all we needed was angle C. So we just 180 minus the other two angles. We got 46.93. Everyone got that for C?
Everybody always forgets how you get that other angles.
I mean, you could take the time to do this with the other ones, but it's easier if you just do 180. Everyone good on that?
Make sure your name's on that stuff, guys.
And you'll get more practice with this for the law of cosine.
Ow, you give me a paper cut.
I would just do one of them.
Okay. Everyone got this? You getting ready? I'll explain in a second. So before we get into the new stuff, real quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, come on.
Real quick, how do I solve for x? Multiply by 2, right? Because we want to get rid of the fractions. Plus 12.
Can we write this down?
I would. Practice makes perfect with these. So I'm not going to touch this side, but I'm going to distribute that to 2. What do I get?
6x minus 10.
Okay? And then how do I get x by itself?
Subtract the pick on the little guy.
You want to subtract 4x? Okay, so those go away. I get 12 equals, what, 2x minus 10?
Yep.
Now what?
Plus 10.
Add 10. 22 equals 2x, so x equals
11.
Only point of doing that is because this looks terrible. Don't want to work with it, but it's really not that bad once you get the general format. So A's here, and notice what letter is right here. Big A. And what's gonna, when you set up your formulas, depending what variable you want to solve for, this letter and this letter should always be the same. And then the other two just fall into place. If that makes sense. So if this was c squared, what would go here and here? A squared plus b squared, right? Minus 2ab.
Oh.
Cosine of what? C. That's law of cosine. If you look at your worksheets, it's going to list 3 different formulas. And you only have to remember one because they're always going to follow the same format. You're solving for c squared, a and b just fall into place, cosine of c. Okay? Now, law of sines, when were you guys using it? You're usually given 3 pieces of information. One information,
One, they give you an angle and what's that? Opposite side.
opposite side. Law of cosines allows you to do side angle side cases, or when you're given just all 3 sides.
Nice.
So,
Isn't that easier though?
I mean, the algebra is a little more involved. So let's run through this one. So if I'm giving you A is 42, C, that's a C, is 60, and angle B is 58. Solve for the other pieces. First step, draw a picture. A, C, and B. So 42, 60, and then the 58 goes up top, right? Notice, there's 2 cases when you use this. When you give it all 3 sides, or when you have side angle side. In this case, we have side angle side. So, which side are we missing?
The left side.
Little b, right? So if you look over here at the formula, if I plug in little b here, how does the rest of the formula pan out? So if it goes, so b squared equals, AC, right? These guys just carry over. Cosine of what? Big B, right? Because it's got to match that letter. Okay, so let's start plugging stuff in. So we're looking for b squared. A was what? 42?
Why would you, why 2AC and then cosine B?
We don't really derive the entire formula of why this is. What happens here a lot of times is the law of cosines. The law of cosines is going to be used for us when the law of sines doesn't work. You're going to only have to use the law of cosines in 2 specific types of cases. The law of cosines is used when you have side angle side in a triangle, or side side side.
Oh, so you just.
Yeah, it's nothing more than a substitution problem from there on out, Gio. We're not really concerned with how it's derived. One of the main reasons that we spend time talking about law of cosines and law of sines in this class is that way you guys see the algebra that's involved, because you spend quite a bit of time working with it next year in Algebra 2. What'll happen next year in Algebra 2 is that you will derive how some of the stuff comes up, specific cases as to when some of these do work, when they don't work, or when it's possible that 2 triangles might even be formed with some of these values. There's quite a bit going on. It's really not that bad, but what we're looking at here today is really, these are nothing more than 2 or 3 step algebra problems that have a lot of buttons you have to press on your calculator. Yes.
How do you find it if you don't have big C or like number 2?
We're not on law of sines right now, so let's worry about this, and you and I can work on that like in flex or something, because this is not that.
So basically what you're doing is you're putting, is it always 2 times A times
Yes.
C?
Yep.
Yeah, so
It's
notice,
the same generic formula each time.
so if A goes here, A goes here, right? B, C fall into place. Well, B, C are going to go here too.
Right, because they're interchangeable.
You're doing C, little c goes here, big C goes here,
So,
and B.
When you get
so you're saying that the formula.
Yeah, there's 3 ways you could put it, but if you remember what's going on, just A squared, angle A, and then the other 2 just fall into place. You only have to
So
remember
when
one.
you do the whole, you tighten it up to exactly what you see.
That kind of makes sense, hopefully. Okay, so this is just a product, right? So if we put those in the calculator, what do we get? 42 squared plus 60 squared.
Oh, there's, see how many things is
5,364.
64. Now this one, remember, it's negative 2 times 42 times 60. Do something like 540. Right? Once you get to this point, honestly, you could have just started here and just plugged it all in your calculator.
Oh, really?
You're going to end up getting, if you plug it in your calculator, what do you get?
Guys, you can type it directly in your calculator the way it's written.
Yes, you can just start here.
It's gonna give you some crummy looking number, but it's right.
No.
Should get some random decimal. But what do we have to do? Square root, right? When we get rid of that square. So if we square root both sides, what's b equal?
Well, you were rounding,
51.9? Okay, that's a 5.
Wait, do we round? So we
You round this one.
We round 51. Oh, like when we.
Your final answer.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Is it 2?
Yeah, this is just there are some numbers over here that I just didn't write down.
Is it 2B?
That's b, 51.9.
It's 2.
So now that we're here, what do we notice? Now we do law of sines, right? We have angle B, now we have side B. Now it just jumps back to what you guys were doing yesterday. So, what do we want to solve for? Angle A or angle C? Okay? It doesn't matter either way. So sine of C over, what, 60? Equals sine of angle B was what? 58?
Opposite, right? Yep. Very good.
Everyone get how that's set up?
Yeah.
When you don't have side opposite.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I round when I'm putting in the square?
Your calculation's slow. You don't have to. I wouldn't do that because you're going to wind up being further off.
it gives you the information over here. Write that equation down.
Yep. That's the easiest way to
Then
do
you
it.
just plug it in.
Does that make sense?
This one? Okay.
Now remember, guys, don't try to round it every single time. Let the calculator do the work. The calculator has the functionality to it where it stores your answers as you go through. There's no reason to round each time or write down all your values. Calculator will do the work.
Okay? So, as was pointed out, now we solve for side B. Now we have an angle on the side opposite, so now we can jump to law of sines. And we pick angle C first. It doesn't matter. And this is how you set up, right? Sine C over angle, sine of angle C over side C equals, and then the B stuff, right? So sine of C equals what?
78.62.
Yeah, I think you're going to something like that. So C equals, what'd you get?
78.6.
Yep. So here is what, 78.64. You can torture yourself and do it again with side A. What's the easiest thing to do? 180 minus those two, and what do you get?
More often than not, you only have to do law of cosines once, because then all of a sudden you'll have a side opposite an angle, and you just go to law of sines. It's lost.
Oh, so this one, so combo.
No.
Should get about 43.3. Hmm? Yeah, sorry.
Oh.
I'm dying.
No, I didn't mean there's a lot of time. I think you just meant.
So it's not too bad, right?
Not
I mean, practice makes perfect, so
We get fries in a small Coke, right?
everyone got this? Yes, I'm going to assume. Okay. Let's throw a different case at you guys. What's the biggest difference between this one and the last one? All sides. So we're going to have to solve this monstrosity for an angle. Okay? First thing first, draw a picture. C. So 10, 15 and 12. Okay, which angle do we want to solve for first?
Let's do B,
B, why B?
because I like B.
Okay, it's the right answer, but the reason why, we want to find the angle across from the biggest side.
Oh, there's a right answer to it?
Yeah. Of why we're
It's
going
not
to
such
do
the
it.
right answer for this class, but next year there's a definitive reason why. You, when you have triangles, we all remember from a while back, the largest angle is always opposite the largest side. When you're doing law of cosines, you always want, and you have three sides, you always want to find the side opposite, or excuse me, the angle opposite the largest side length first. Reasons for that is because next year you will find out that there's about 6 different cases that occur when you're dealing with the law of sines or law of cosines. And by finding that largest angle first, it kind of alleviates over half of the issues you'll come up with. So it just becomes a little bit
I
less
just picked
work.
it because I like.
Well, you had
I like
you had a one-third chance, you know?
Yeah.
Huh?
Okay, so
Hitting 333 will get you in the Hall of
we
Fame.
want to solve for angle B, right? So how are we going to set up our formula? If B goes here, what goes out here? B, right? So without plugging any numbers in, let's just set up the formula. So B squared equals what?
42.
Without plugging in numbers in.
Oh, A squared minus 2AC
Or substituting numbers.
If that one, okay, I got a question. Okay, so how come you're writing a different equation from the other one, the other two?
So this is the general equation. And
Oh.
what's going to happen, you're going to have 3 different cases,
Mhm.
but if you know how it's generally the basic format, then you can, without memorizing 3, you memorize 1, you just flip stuff around.
Okay,
So this is how we set it up for angle B.
so it depends on what the triangle you use?
It depends on what we're solving for.
Okay.
In this case, we want to get angle B by itself. So let's start plugging stuff in. So this would be what, 15 squared equals plus 12 squared. 12 cosine of B, right?
I thought we didn't know
We're solving for B.
the angle.
So we're going to get this by itself. Nope. Okay. Everyone cool on the general setup?
Yeah, I need that.
Yes and not? Okay, then what's 15 squared? Okay? And again, this is just an addition problem, right? What's 10 squared plus 12 squared? 244. Minus, and what's this going to become? Negative 2 times 10 times 12.
I get 4 for the whole answer. 240. Not 240.
All right, something to be careful of. Can I add these 2 numbers together?
No,
Oh.
Why?
because that's connected to the cosine.
It's connected to the cosine. So if this was 244 minus 240x, could I add those 2 together?
Oh.
No. So you want to keep these guys separate.
So how do you,
You subtract the.
Okay, so if we ignore this now. We subtracted over 244, what do we get? Because now, treat this like, pretend this was x. Pretend it was this. How do we get x by itself?
subtract.
Subtract 244, what do we get? Negative 19, I think?
Yeah.
Okay, equals negative 240 cosine of b. And then we have to divide over by 240, right?
Hold it, it's a 3-step back now. It's so annoying. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be fine. Trust me. Just
And you get some outrageous decimal, so
You got negative 240 for that, right?
for dividing it over.
Like negative 2
And you get some really awful decimal. Now, how are we going to get b by itself?
Wait, why did you divide Benjamin like,
I didn't divide it.
but how did you make negative?
Because you subtracted 244 from 225.
Yeah.
And that equals negative 19.
If this was 244 minus 240x, how would we solve for x? Yes. Because this is equal to 225, right? So we'd want to move the 244 over. That's how we get the negative 19. And then we want to divide over the negative 240.
I get 40.
You have to, okay, just pretend the cosine of b is an x. So you can't subtract an x from one side. You have to keep it on that side. So what you do is you subtract 244 from the 225. That's what you would do in the first step equation.
Yeah, exactly right. So we're doing cosine. So when we get our decimal, we're going to do the inverse cosine, right?
Yeah.
Second cosine.
Wait, so the decimal would be,
The decimal is whatever this happens to.
okay.
So these guys reduced out. So negative 19 over negative 240. What's a negative divided by negative? Okay? Cosine of b. So you're going to plug this in. 19 divided by 240 is some decimal. And then you just do second cosine and then second answer. You get 85.4 cents.
One thing that a lot of people tend to screw up as they're going through this, and I saw this a couple times when I was walking around while Mr. Plank was going through this. When you're taking the cosine of an angle, it's always going to be a positive value, okay? That's why some of you guys, when you're writing down your algebra steps, you forgot to leave that negative in front of the 2. So it's negative 2 times 10 times 12. So you got to make sure you keep that over there. Because if you're getting an error on your calculator, you probably didn't have the negative, the 2 negatives on that one side. That's usually where people will mess up. And like we said earlier, once you find one angle opposite a side, you do not have to do the messiness of the law of cosines anymore. You can fall right to the law of sines.
Yeah. Boom. Now we have angle B. Now we have an angle and the side opposite. And now we're just jumping back to that side.
It's all pressing. It's really,
Yeah.
like I said, it's a 3-step algebra problem. That's just nasty.
Is it always 2 times a
Yep.
Okay.
Always. Because there's 2 sides.
You want me to go?
Can you put this whole thing in the calculator?
No.
Okay.
You can't put that whole thing in there because
In the
that.
other one you could.
Correct, because in this case you can't because you have to find the angle.
That's what I did wrong.
Yeah, guys, this also comes up, I remember some other people sitting in the back row in the sweatshirt might have tried to type all this into his calculator right away. You can't do that because you don't know the angle B. You have to set it up, like we said, it's a 3-step equation. Subtract out the first part, divide the next part, inverse cosine. There's your angle.
Can you say again, how do you know you can put it in your calculator versus you
If you're
can't?
trying to find the side, calculator right away. If you're trying to find the angle, you got to do the 3 steps.
Yeah. If you're looking for whatever's over here, then you'll know all this stuff, and then you can just plug it right in. Okay. So to round this one out,
It's a silly 3-step.
now we have an angle on the side opposite. So what do you guys want to do? Angle A or angle C first? C? Everyone picked C. They picked C earlier too.
What do you do
So-
first? Number 1.
What would side be? 15? Sine of C over 12. Is everyone comfortable now a little bit more setting this up, at least?
I'm very comfortable with this.
All right. Second.
Changes.
It's a 5.
Yeah.
Step number 1.
Right, so if you solve for sine, nope. This, right? We can find a C by itself?
Yeah.
Step one.
Okay, then you just go to your calculator, plug that in. Big thing to be careful with, before we're using cosines, make sure you know which trig function you're gonna hit.
Step number 3.
Because if you end up hitting inverse sine when you're doing log cosines, you're gonna get a different answer.
Wait.
3 steps.
You have to do the cosine ones.
Yep. I mean, you can do it again. There's nothing wrong. If you get 5, you can do log cosines for all if you want. It's not a big deal. There's no rule that says you don't. A lot of times students find log signs easier. So once you get it once, it's just quicker to drop.
Okay, you get some awful decimals.
It's still right. It's
Second,
still right.
sine, second answer,
Do you? No.
52.89.
No. Just if you add.
Now what do we have?
6.
We have angle C.
We have angle B and angle C. How can we get angle A?
Subtract 180 from.
Subtract 180. Which makes, so angle C was 89. Add those up, subtract 180. And this one B gets what?
41.65. That's not bad.
It's not too terrible practice with them.
It's a crummy looking 3 steps.
Wait.
Shall we do one more? Or 2 more depending on time?
You got time to set up one.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay, so.
Ladies and gentlemen, show some respect, please.
Sorry, sir.
What's the first thing to notice? We're not given any angles, so
You got cosines.
gotta do that step first. Okay. So I'll give you guys a minute, see how far you guys get, then we'll come back. I'll at least draw the picture. So, 7, 15.
Dude, Yum swam here.
$1 million question, which angle are you guys going to solve for first? C, because 15 is the bigger side, which means angle C first. Oh.
So do we have to set everything equal to C squared since angle C is the biggest?
Yep. Because this has to be cosine C, which means this is going to be C squared.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, as I wandered around, I handed you guys a sheet there with log cosine stuff. Again, you're solving the triangles. You're going to want to draw a diagram, fill in the blanks, and you're going to do all 5 of those because there's only 5 of them. That's something that I would anticipate out of you. Me?
That's sharp. Yeah, no, between the first heat and the last heat, I'm gonna have a lot of time to sit on deck and do this stuff. But if it gets wet, so
Yes.
Treat it.
Seriously.
hey,
I'm serious. Just don't.
I'll if it's gets dropped
Stop
in the water,
talking.
I'm so
Jake,
sorry.
stop talking. Stop talking.
He's gonna go home and drop it in like She's like, see, found the blue.
Oh.
149 plus 144.
Good fun. It's like, we can just, yeah, we just step out.
That's so badly molded.
Will you please do some work?
We're saying Hope would just throw his whole entire backpack in there, but you guys
That would be something you would do.
Plus.
Or like have my bone tucked into my suit and then go get up on the block and start
2 times 10 times 12. That.
4 times 2.
So now that I have this, do I like that?
So,
The people who are doing it, is this where you're going with the problem?
yes.
Hopefully?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Becomes what, 32? Don't forget the negative. Cool. Divide both sides by negative 168. Cosine of C equals some decimal.
100.98.
Wait.
Trump.
Cosine of C is 0.1.
Whatever it winds up, the angle itself, I just saw one of being 100.98, I believe.
Yeah, you end up getting that. Yeah, you just plug it in, right? You divide this, you get that decimal, then you inverse cosine.
You're here, right? This value. Second.
And it went away.
Okay.
I don't know where you were getting that 193 from. Go right to go right to your calculator. Just do a second cosine. Love that answer. There's your answer.
And at this point, just bump over to law of sines. Now you have an angle on the side opposite.
You don't want to fix them up here for negative raise.
Right?
That one.
Now what?
You're sitting over here. You're talking too much.
Oh, I'm like, grab this.
Clarify the about you used to. You've got lazy.
Now that we found the.
Very lazy.
Now you can bump over to law of sines.
Okay, and we just do 15 times 7.
Yeah, you can, now that you can bump over to law of sines, you can use sine of the angle you just found, 100.98 over 15 equals, I know, do the angle yourself for first, I think A, so sine of A over 7.
He's like, if I do this, I can see my nose vibrate.
So 7 times,
I don't know.
Is it Wall Street? No, it's not even Wall Street. Oh, good job. You're going to state. Good job.
Yeah. You're
now like you
I feel like you are. No, this is all mine. I promise. I got those yesterday.
11:15, inverse sine.
All five of us that are going to play.
Oh, inverse sine.
We're all dressed up
Yeah.
like this.
So ignore that. You should get.
So if we dress up
I got
nicely,
27 percent, let's do 7.
Yep. Perfect.
Well, I am. They're dressed up nice.
Then you had 3 sides. You need 3 angles. You have 2 angles.
So you just subtract 180.
180, which makes B what?
51.75.
I don't understand. You didn't miss anything. Ladies and gentlemen, give these things a try. It's not going to kill you. Set it up, draw your diagram, figure out which ones you know. If it's going to be side angle side, side side side, one or the other. There's 5 problems. Give them a shot. Can we do all 5? Sure. Odds and evens. Good luck, props. Is there a right angle?
Oh wait, Mr.
So can you? Is there a right angle? So can you use it? Very good.
All. Yeah, there's no backside.